I'm Amy McCorkle. I'm from Shepherdsville, Kentucky, born and raised in Louisville. I am an best-selling author, screenwriter, filmmaker, podcaster, playwright, mental health advocate. Where I started in my journey was with Letters to Daniel, was with the movie. It kind of led to everything that is culminating now. And that was the story where I, with my journey with bipolar disorder.
So why are you here tonight?
I need help. I feel like my skin is going to come off.
I was lonely. I was jittery. I was terrified. I hadn't lost my mind, but I desperately wanted help.
What's your family history?
My sister had a bipolar disorder. My cousin and her nephew. My grandfather. We all struggle from mental illness.
And it was told through the prism of my friendship and writing partnership with my best friend, Melissa Goodman.
We came down here to make a name for ourselves. You still want that, don't you?
Yeah, but not while starving to death.
We're not gonna starve to death. I've done this before.
Made a movie without a pot to piss in.
Lived on the bare essentials. Besides, my Aunt Rosie's down here. We're okay.
Are you sure?
Positive.
All right, let's get unpacked. But the first time that it gets hard, I'm crying uncle.
We went through quite a bit. But, there's always a story after the story, or the story behind the story. And, I kissed a lot of frogs, professionally speaking, but I don't really think in the end that they were bad people. They definitely traumatized me. But they always say a setback is always the setup for a great comeback. I was inexperienced in the business, and around 2016, around April, May, I discovered AOF MegaFest. Founder, creator of the festival. The individual's name was Del Weston.
AOF, it's Del Weston. I'm here at the most fantastic theater in Vegas, the Galaxy Theaters.
And I saw that he was the real deal. He wasn't a joke. I called. I checked the website out. It looked fantastic. I thought, there is no way I'm going to have the money to do this by September because, I'm on disability and I get at the time, less than $800 a month. I called him and I said, I'm submitting to your festival. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will be out there. And he was like, yeah, baby. And he's one of those people that calls everybody beautiful. Doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy. The women, I think he called me Sweet Pea, but he probably called every woman Sweet Pea. He was of that generation, I felt like he was saying, oh, hey, we're family, we're a group, we help each other, and it just seemed like such a warm place to be.
This theater chain is so fantastic that they said that if I wanted, we could give specialty filmmakers specialty screenings. So yeah, it'll be limited seatings, probably around 50 people per. But I can get you a screening at a great theater this summer. Look at this theater behind me. It's absolutely magnificent. And guess what? They got popcorn with butter.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll submit my 5 best scripts. I said, should I submit the documentary Letters to Daniel Breakdown to Bestseller? 0 budget, proof of concept. Spoiler alert, it has no money in it. So, and he said, yes, absolutely, submit that too. But what ended up winning an award and 2 awards and being nominated was the documentary. When I got there, it was a heck of a time because my DVDs didn't want to play. We downloaded it to the flash drive and it saved my butt. There's nothing like seeing a movie of yours in a movie theater. But I will tell you, it's a bit disheartening when the distributor you want so badly to stay walks out before the end of the movie. but nobody else did. Everybody else stayed in their seats. At the end of the movie, they came up to me and were telling me what the movie meant to them, that they knew someone with bipolar disorder, and it also went into more detail about my childhood. I was a survivor of sexual childhood abuse, and Rich, I'm sitting there next to him, and he goes, and he's crying. Right, he's sobbing. There's a grown man sobbing at this movie, and I was like, I'm thinking technically it is lacking in so many ways, but what he said at the next year's award ceremony, he says, "Yeah, but you always wear your heart on your sleeve in your movies."
I'm trying. I am trying so hard. You want me to take you down to Bill Miller's and show you the conditions I work in? It triggers this. It triggers everything. Whatever this is.
Don't take whatever this is out on me. I didn't do anything.
What? You talked me into coming here, and now you're gonna run back to mommy and daddy.
It just evolved from there, and Dell just took a really active participatory role in my career from that point on. I think to talk about the experience of going to AOF, just even for the first time. I'm in Kentucky. The festival that year was in Monrovia, California. That was the first time any of our work had gotten accepted on the West Coast. It was definitely the largest festival. The experience is like they're trying to give you an Oscar like A-list experience. But we get there and I arrive and Dell is like, he said, "Beautiful." And he comes over and he gives me a big hug and he says, "I can't wait for you to see your movie on the big screen." They had a welcome breakfast.
This is a proof of life video that Amy's okay.
And he called every filmmaker or screenwriter there up, and then he would interview them. And when I went up there, he said, "This woman here is what the festival is all about." Him and his wife and his family really appreciated me coming and representing my films and representing my scripts. And then another point in the festival were set script to screen. Get it done is what it was called. And he said, "Would Amy McCorkle stand up?" And I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna embarrass me." So I stand up and he says, "See this phone right here? She called me 32 times and told me I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna get there." And he was just, he just really took me under his wing. A friend of mine said he just puts his arm around you and he says, "Oh, you're so-and-so's friend? Well, then you're my friend, and I'll do anything I can for you." Did he overpromise? Probably. Because he wanted everybody to fulfill what it is their potential is, what it is, what their heart's desire was.
If you think you might want to show your film, if you want to come to Vegas and do it, you drop me a line. I'll see if I can't make it happen.
He was just so kind. Or he just was the kind of person that when he came into the room, he commanded it. Like he filled up the room. He was like well over 6 foot tall, and barrel chested and big booming voice and "yeah baby" and beautiful, and it's like I was like broken in all these little pieces from the experience I'd had in the first half of 2016 and had major setbacks from kissing those frogs. AOF and Dell and Teresa took all those broken pieces and just stuck them back together and really believed in me, and it really kind of blossomed from there. We are at the Fright Night Film Festival, where I am up for an award for my proof of concept web series Letters 2. And it's also where in 2013 I won my first award for a screenplay. Me and my writing partner, Melissa Goodman, wrote Bounty Hunter. I am doing a panel with other filmmakers because one of my films showed here, as I said, Letters 2. And there's going to be an award ceremony tonight, and fingers crossed, we take home some hardware. My first movie, Letters to Daniel, my first feature, that's not my first movie, but first one I would let anybody look at. We got distributed by Green Apple. It's on like 12 different streaming platforms. It's on DVD. They put it out on DVD recently. It's exciting. Now we're doing the sequel. We fundraised on GoFundMe, and we raised about $6,000. And that's what we had to work with for production, and post-production. It can be done. You can start anywhere. Anywhere, really, anywhere. I miss him. Oh, he would call and check on me and check on the project. He just really believed in me. And the last time I saw him in person, I went to Vegas in September of 2020. Like, I took a calculated risk during COVID, and you know how Ken was talking about, it's going to be on a theater. Well, I went to the Galaxy Theater. There were all of 5 people in that theater after the movie was over, and he said, "You did it, kid." And everybody was kid. He was one of those people where it didn't matter. He was he was 59 when he passed away. I'm 48 now, and that was 2 years ago. And it was kid. Everybody was kid.
I was kid.
Man, the world lost something when he passed away.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, my name is Matt Vida. I'm here representing Killington, which is my debut feature film. I was the creator, wrote the story, then brought in amazing writer Grace Day, who finished the script. I also co-directed, and I played Travis in the film. And I executive produced it alongside Mark Dazinski with our little indie production company, Narboys.
What compelled you to make this film specifically? Like, what inspired you to make this film specifically?
This film was very much born out of a necessity, arrest COVID depression, and I was locked in a cabin in Vermont and just kind of going through it as we all were. And I'm also like a comedian, so I was not out being able to perform, so I was very much stuck in my head and stuck in a cabin. So I just started being like, what can I create in this space? So I sort of came up with a story concept around the house that I was living in, actually.
Oh yes, indie filmmaking, the mother of invention. So what does this specific experience, what does it mean to you, and what has it been for you?
The whole process, it was cool. It was very punk rock. It was like, all right, I had this idea, and then as any indie project, it was like, all right, who are my friends? What do I have? What resources do I have? So I kind of just started tapping the people closest to me. And then we were kind of fortuitous because it was kind of right by the time we had a full script, we were coming out of COVID. So it was like, all right, we were just able to sort of shoot, and we're like, all right, let's just go for it. And we wound up shooting the whole feature in 9 days plus 2 pickups, so 11 days.
Letters to Daniel, for me it was 6 days. What has this festival experience been like for you, and what does it mean for you?
It's really, I just got here. I was doing stand-up in North Carolina last night, so I just drove 8 hours straight here, walked into the middle of it, so it's been really cool. I could already sense that there's like a really cool community here, which is really cool. So I'm kind of like, I'm the new kid, so I'm like hoping to make some connections and, get immersed into the scene that y'all got.
I love the fact it was born. Did you have a mentor or anyone who inspired you to do it, or was it just something you've always wanted to do?
I've always wanted to make a feature, and then it was one of those things where you're kind of like, I'm just going to do it now. Not that it was a mentor, but I was kind of like, My girlfriend's very supportive. I'm like, I gotta make a film, and she's an actress. She's actually one of the stars of the film.
Wow.
So that probably didn't hurt the motivation. But she's like, yeah, do it. You know, she's always like, all my crazy ideas. She's like, do it, do it, do it. So
Everybody needs that person. To kind of wrap things up, are you looking forward to the award ceremony this evening?
I'm looking forward to everything, especially the awards ceremony. I'm looking forward to the band. I'm looking forward to some screenings. Yeah, I'm looking forward to suck it all in.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for the interview, Matt.
Thank you, Amy. I'd say the biggest thing I could say is if you're thinking about doing something, just do it. You'll figure it out in the process. I would say reach out to your community who's closest to you to support you, but don't say if or but or when, just figure it out as you go, because you'll realize as you go that there's a lot of people that will help support. And then you get to a place like this, like an awesome festival, and you start seeing that, oh, there's other crazy people like you that have done it, and will sort of give you more tools and resources, motivation to keep doing it.
Letters Day pilot, director Amy Lee McCorkle, who is in the audience. Amy, congratulations.
Woo!
Yeah, I want to thank one of my actors, Miles, who's here, and just the whole cast and crew, and dedicated to my mentor, who's no longer here. This is a series spin-off of my feature, Letters to Daniel, that a faith-based streamer in Florida was interested in.
Congratulations,
So.
Amy. Well done.
My name is Miles Jordan. I am an actor, model, dancer, and cosplayer born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm currently represented through Heyman Talent Agency. My biggest goal in my film journey is to ultimately find my place and home in it, and hopefully just make a career out of entertaining people. How I got to meet Amy was honestly very traditional. I met her through a convention that we both attended called Imaginarium. She had a panel set up discussing the Letters to Daniel. But I remember at one point during the panel, she was just interested in, potentially looking for new talent to work with her in future projects. Ultimately, that's how we met, and that's how we got to work together. I was just sleeping, in my bed one night, and I get a text from her around like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And she told me that one of her actors unfortunately had to bail out on her, and it was a very last minute thing. She gave me a breakdown of the character I was portraying. She gave me the script, which wasn't that long, which was good for me because, again, everything was last minute, so I had to memorize this, fairly quickly. By the time everything got together, we were ready to roll, and it ended up working out beautifully in the end. So getting the chance to work with Amy finally on a set was really satisfying. Her method of storytelling, her direction, and just the overall messages that she's trying to give out, through her stories, all of it just felt like it was really right up my alley. She really just lets me give as much as I can during whatever scene that we're trying to film. She just offers a sense of freedom for her actors to, bring whatever we could bring to the table to make it feel very real and very natural, and just make it seem so effortless. Amy, I feel like, is a very huge advocate for letting her actors do their thing while keeping the context and the story, going along. The experiences, some of the scenes that we did just felt very, very real. And it was at that time I realized, like Amy, she knows how to treat her actors well. She tries to understand what we're capable of, before anything gets started. It just goes to show that not only is she a great director, but she's just a great person in general. So she takes those elements of who she is as a everyday person and puts them into, puts that into her work. Yeah, working with her on a set is a pleasure, and it will always be a pleasure. If there's any advice I can give to any aspiring actors out there, first and foremost, you have to do this with the right intention. If you truly love acting, you love performing, you love film, and you just love the whole creative process, you're more than likely going to go very far with this. Otherwise, if you are the opposite of all those, you're not going to get very far then. You never, and I can't stress this enough, you never know where things can take you. Sometimes doing the smallest things can lead you into something much bigger in the future. They constantly, they just kept going and going and going, and they built themselves up and, you know, opportunities come up and people recognize your talents, they'll open these doors for you. You got to be thankful with what you can get, because what you get could be something that thousands of other people pray that they can get. Don't take any of that for granted. You know, just be thankful for what comes your way. You know, try to say yes as much as you can, you know, but, you know, try to keep that balance going at the same time too. You don't want to do too much to where you can't do anything at all. Any obstacle that comes your way is just an opportunity for you to be better. And if you look at it that way, you know, you keep at it, nothing will ever let you down. Amy opened up doors for me, and I'm very thankful with how far I've got now because of her, and she's been nothing but nice to me. And like I said, she's just a great, phenomenal person, and I can't wait to work with her again in the future.
Faye Keogh. I am Amy's mom and have been for 48 years. I watched her grow from a timid little girl into a very secure, strong woman.
And I'm John Keogh, and I am Amy's dad, or how I feel it. Technically, I'm her stepdad, but I've watched her grow from a little over a year old, about 18 months. I've watched her journey and loved her and been very proud of her, and still am.
Well, you've always worked really hard at what you were pursuing. I believe after Dell was in the picture that you had the support that you really need to push forward, and it got even more intense. And you didn't seem to let anything stop you. It was amazing what you did accomplish.
One word I've got is creative. I always liked the fact you were always creative and inventive. You had such a wonderful, vivid imagination, and I always respected that and loved that about you. And I was excited that you were doing what you wanted to do, and it was great that you were getting feedback from people all over the country, in fact, the world. Different projects going, so I was very proud of it. I'm still very proud of you. One of my big regrets is we never actually got to meet Dell. And Dell seemed like a larger-than-life personality I really wanted to meet. And I know he really respected and cared for you, and I was looking forward to that. Unfortunately, got ill and then passed away. All the things you did, I was very proud of, and I'm still proud of.
So what was it like for you when, because I know you've seen the movie like 3 times, and at least, and one of those times was at church with the church family who were very supportive of the film. Another time we saw it was in Vegas. And so what was it like each of those times, and how was it different?
Well, it was each one. The one at church was fun because it was, of course, a lot of our church members and friends were there, and I was really proud that you could show that. And it was always nice that they knew you and seen you all those years, and they were really supportive of you. The one in Vegas was the difference, I guess, was the fact that it wasn't a large venue, and part of that, it was a good sign that your movie was doing well and that you were making a real impact.
So, what was your impression of my AOF family?
They seemed very supportive of you and very respectful and held you in high esteem. All those members that we actually met and interacted with, you were a little larger than life in comparison to this is our daughter, the creator and filmmaker and all those people that were there that really seemed to respect and value you. It was good for us to see because we knew you were supported beyond us.
Yeah, it was gratifying to see you up on the stage with all the people watching you. I really liked that. I enjoyed that.
If you could give a piece of advice to other people who have been at the lowest point to the highest point from a parent's perspective, what would you say to them to reach their dreams, to help them reach their dreams?
Well, not give up your dreams. Continue to work with it. Build a support system. She has family and friends, course, her family here, her church family, supportive, but then it goes around the country and around the world. So you build a support network. You build people that will work with you. Just continue to believe in your dreams and continue to go forward one step at a time. She always did something every day trying to build her dream. So that was, I think, the key.
I think you need to make sure you surround yourself with those people who truly understand what's going on with you. Because otherwise you get people who say they're supportive, but then they'll chip away at your tenacity to continue forward and taking it one day at a time. And I think for everything in life, taking it one day at a time and absolutely turning that day into as good a day as you can have, and realizing that if it was a bad day, it was just a day, and that there's always a new day, and you can always succeed if you just live your life in that respect.
I am Melissa Goodman. Everybody calls me Missy. I am an award-winning screenwriter, filmmaker, producer, and I also have 5 published literary works of my own. Just to talk about Amy a little bit, when I think I realized she was my best friend was on a very cold, Amy knows which story I'm going to tell. It was a very cold November, December night when Amy was going to ride with me out to our friend Stephanie's house, who was a coworker. We get in my car and we went to Blockbuster, if this tells you anything. We rented a couple of movies because we were going to have a girls' night. We were going to watch movies, and I remember we rented From Dusk Till Dawn, and I don't want Cry Baby. And then before we leave the Blockbuster, she was like, "I want an ice cream from Blockbuster." First of all, I'm like, who buys ice cream from Blockbuster? But I was like, okay, whatever, fine. And we get out in the car. My car has no heat. It's really, really cold. It's a really, really cold night. And so we get on the road, we're driving, and Amy's like, "It's cold in here." And I'm like, "You're eating ice cream. Of course it's cold in here." So we're driving down the road, and Stephanie lives in a very wooded, rural area around us. We're driving down these really dark roads with no lights. Not sure where in the world we are because we have never been to this place in the daylight, let alone at night. And Amy kept going, I'm cold. When's this car going to heat up? And I kept going, well, it's going to warm up here in a minute. Knowing that car had no heat. I think that was the night we finally got to Stephanie's house, which we weren't even sure. Here it was 1998, 7, on a hill at night in a rural area of Kentucky, and we walk up to a stranger's door. I mean, we didn't have, we didn't have Google, we didn't have GPS, we didn't even MapQuest that trip. We went in there, we had a great time, Our friend Stephanie, if you've ever seen From Dusk Till Dawn, she really liked the character of Richie, which is very disturbing. She thought he was sweet, and I'm like, I looked at Amy, and she looked over at me, and I was like, that's my friend. That's my best friend.
We met in October of 1996 at B. Dalton Booksellers. Michael hired me, that was our boss, and she was the assistant manager. My impression of her was that she was very sweet, that she was very reserved, and that I was probably very shocking personality to her. So,
yeah. Well, I just remember you came in, you were like throwing your stuff down, and me and Stephanie, the other management team member, were kind of just like, do you know who that is? Because she just came in, she was like, hey, hi, I'm Amy. And she was like, no, do you know who that is? And I'm like, no. So then we had that awkward conversation where we had to go, who are you?
So I would write stuff the night before we worked together. And that was kind of like the first start of me disciplining myself to write. It started me on an adult way, a disciplined way. And then she would write stuff, but she wouldn't let me read it. She would tell it to me. Like she would tell of the way she got it across was through verbal storytelling. One day she walks up to me and say, hey, you want to write a romance novel together? And I very elitist and stuck up and snobby say, hey, let's do it for the money. And well, she was like, okay, but I was just going to do it for, because I wanted to do it.
We outlined a very, very long outline and basically told the story through the outline.
Yeah, and it was When Doves Cry. 40 films, more than 40 films if you count Traveler, When Doves Cry, and Letters To.
I was going to say, I don't count because I can't, you know.
I've started to lose count. Like the awards, I have lost count. I know it's over 200 at this point, and I know it's over 100 for Letters to Daniel, our narrative feature, which tells the story of my bipolar recovery, but through the prism of our friendship and what it's like to work together, to have a caregiver, and to be in that close proximity, and the fact that we came out on the other side of it still friends. Even though we still argue from time to time, that's just what humans do.
When you know somebody for as long as we've known each other, you have more ammunition. It's true. I mean,
that's a true story.
Yeah,
Going forward, we have Letters to Matthew, the narrative film. We have Hope, the reimagined, which is the play, which is Hunchback of Notre Dame. Instead of a physically disabled Quasimodo, it's a mentally ill and abused woman who's being held captive by Minister Frollo. And we have someone shooting a documentary. We're producing a documentary about me directing that play. Assassin's Redemption is a bullet in the gun of our creative arsenal with Kevin Brubaker. Our budget is going, like Letters to Daniel, the budget was $6,000 and we shot in 6 days. Letters to Matthew is the next step up, is a big step up. We're talking at least over $1 million. That's what we're hoping for. That's where we're going from here.
And I just say in our future, future works it's always about, of course, it's all about being creative and having fun with that and stuff, but it's also about telling stories that are not getting told in mainstream media.
We want to build a View Askew universe like Kevin Smith did with Clerks, but with mental health and abuse awareness stories, whether they be narrative or documentary or anything like that, short, music video.
I always tell you, I'm your friend, and I'm going to be there, and like I said, Goodmans don't give up.
Yeah.
Even when they sometimes should, but
Goodmans don't run.
Yeah, Goodmans don't run. That's it. Goodmans don't run. But thank you for being my friend.
Well, yeah, I think I would just say that too. Thank you for being
a friend, Golden Girls.
I would say thank you for being my caregiver in a time where usually it's a girlfriend, boyfriend, romantically, we were friends, or a parent, or a sibling, or another kind of family member. You were not related to me by blood, and you could have run at any point, and you stuck by my side, and you said Goodmans don't run. And dude, if you've seen Letters to Daniel, you'll know I'd definitely put her through her paces.
I'm sure I have as well, but we're to the point where we're more like family than we are friends, even though my sister would probably hate that, but
and I know which one too.
She's been there. I do say that to my sister when she says, why are you friends with Amy? Why do you hang out with Amy? Why do you do things with Amy? And I always say, because when I call Amy, she answers the phone.
Yeah.
I've never known a moment when I didn't need her to be there, she wasn't there. All right. Let's get this over with. I hate hugging people, but I'll hug you, friend.
Hi, I'm Amy Lee McCorkle, and I'm a longtime documentary filmmaker. I am making a film called Letters to Matthew. You inspired me to do this with your works and your interviews, and inspired me to go after my dreams. And what Letters to Matthew is about love, loss, grief, and while coping with serious mental illness. And the reason why this project is so important to me is because it's my story about my loss of my mentor, and I'm in my 25th year of recovery with bipolar disorder. And what I would love to collaborate with you on is a PSA at the end of the movie where it is a call to action to call the National Hotline to NAMI, that's the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, and to provide the hotline for this for suicide prevention, which is 988.